Hi, it's Michelle from Take On Bar Exam Coaching. Welcome to my channel where we talk all things bar prep. One of the questions that I get from folks is about multiple choice questions. Their scores are not where they want them to be and they're nervous, right? They're trying to figure out how to improve scores. And so I always start by asking, well, what is it that you've been doing to improve your scores? Sometimes it's, this is what I'm doing this bar cycle, or this is what I've done during previous bar cycles, but essentially this is what I do. And I'll often hear things like, I do 50 multiple choice questions, and then I review them, and then I write down the rules for the wrongs, and I do this 5 to 7 days a week. And when I hear this, I'm thinking, this person's really a hard worker. This person is committed, but this person is doing it all wrong. All right. And then I start trying to unpack what that person has been doing, explain it to them so that maybe they can go past the bar exam without coming to work with me. This video, I'm recording that sort of knowledge that I impart to folks when we talk to discuss potentially working with each other. So one of the questions that I ask is, so what's your source for the law? Like, how are you learning the law? And I'll hear, well, the questions, so I do the 50 questions or the 35 or the 100 questions a day. I do the questions and then I go through the questions, and that is how I learn the law. My response is, no, not necessarily how you should be doing it. And the reason for that is because a multiple choice question, it's one element of a larger rule, or it's one exception, or it's one exception to the exception. It's one nuance. And so you may be missing the larger rule. So maybe being able to get that answer correct with a multiple choice question might work, but you can't write an essay about that rule because you don't have the larger rule. So you need a deeper understanding of the entire rule. You need a reliable source of law so that you have an overview of the rule and how it works. And that may be in the form of a traditional outline. It may be cue lists from Take On Bar Exam Coaching, linked below. But regardless of the source, you need something to deliver the law. And I'm not talking about something that's going to teach you every single thing that you need to know about torts. That's too much. You need something that teaches you everything about torts that gets tested at the bar exam. And there's a difference, okay? It's not everything about torts. It's everything that is tested at the bar exam. The bar exam's been around for decades. I want to say since 1972. I'm probably wrong, but since forever. The bar exam's been around forever. And so we can tell what's been tested at the bar exam. And so you want to study what's getting tested and not the entire universe about your subject. All right, so that's one. You need a streamlined source of law. 2, 50 questions a day, 100 questions a day, even 35 questions a day in the beginning of your prep. It's too much. You can't learn from that. Folks that I talk to, they're doing the 50 questions and then they go through the answer explanations and they're kind of concentrating on the rights and they're concentrating on the wrongs. And then some of them will tell me, and then I write down the rule, okay? So that needs some adjusting. 50 questions, too many, because you have to figure out why you picked the wrong answer, why the right answer is the right answer, right? Even on questions where you picked the right answer, you need to make sure that you picked it for the right reason. The correct answer choice is C. You picked D. A lot of people will concentrate on, well, C's the right answer. Let me see why it's right. D's the wrong answer. Let me see why I picked it, why that one's wrong. And then they ignore the A and the B choices because, well, C's right and D's wrong, and I picked D, and I need to know that C's right and why. But you're missing an opportunity, because oftentimes that A and B will have nuggets of law that could pop up in future questions. And so you want to review all of those answer choices. The other thing that I tell people is, when you know this well enough, you can actually adjust the fact pattern in your head. Like when you're actively learning the law, you can adjust the fact pattern in your head to make the wrong answer choice become right, or the two answer choices that weren't applicable. You can adjust your fact pattern to make every single one of those answer choices potentially become accurate. Okay? Potentially. Like sometimes they'll have an answer choice that's just no longer good law. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about all of the other answer choices that are good law. How could you adjust your fact pattern to make one of those other answer choices correct? And if you're actively learning, if you're actively engaged, if you're using active recall to study, you will be able to do that. But initially, 100 questions, 50 questions, too many questions for you to be able to do that in a meaningful way. And so what I suggest initially is just do 5 questions, do 10 questions, do 15 questions a day initially, right? And when you do your questions, do them in small sets. Do 5 questions, right? And then take the time to really go through those 5 questions, right? And their answer explanations. So a multiple choice question, we know, right, that there's, the bar examiners have a certain number of minutes that you're supposed to do the questions in, potentially, right, on average. So we know that. And so knowing that, you should also know that you can do multiple choice questions really quickly, right? So the work with multiple choice questions comes on that back end. Now that I've done the questions, I really need to make sure that I understand where I went right, where I went wrong, how to make sure that I get this question right. And then the other thing is you want to record your wrongs, right? So folks will record their wrongs by writing down the rule, and that's not necessarily what I think you should do. You want to record your wrongs, but what you're writing down is how to fix where I went wrong so that I don't get this wrong again. All right? I don't know if that makes sense, right? So it's not about this is the rule. You could know the rule, but you didn't understand that fact triggered this rule. And so that's why you didn't think to use that rule. You used a different rule, right? So it's not about, I got it wrong, let me write down the rule. It's, I got it wrong. Why did I get it wrong? Oh, I didn't know that this fact triggered that rule. And so now I'm writing that information down so that when I see this question again, I'm going to get it right. Okay. So I think I said a lot, but to recap, maybe you want to have a really solid, streamlined source of law. You want to do questions in smaller increments, maybe 5 at a time, with maybe a max of 15 a day initially during your prep. Your goal is to really and truly take the time to learn from every single one of the questions that you do, right? In the back of your head, it should be, and if I got this question again, I will get it right. That's your goal. If I get this question again, I will get it right. If they change the fact pattern a little bit, I will get it right. Okay, that's the work that you have to do once you do your 5 through 15 multiple choice questions. You also want to make sure that you're recording your wrongs. So yes, record the wrongs, but also you want to record when you got it right for the wrong reason. You want to record when you guessed. Like those are questions that we count as being wrong. And when you record, you're writing down, how do I make sure that I will get this right the next time? All right. And then if you've done all of that heavy lifting, I wouldn't just, rely on my memory to get me through, right? I've done the work. I figured it out. So now I'm just going to, like assume that I'm going to know it forever. No, you want to make sure that you come back and review. All right. So I like to say that bar prep, you don't do it in a linear way, right? You're not doing it. I've covered torts this week. And so next week I move to property, and the week after that I move to contracts, and I keep going. Bar prep needs to be done in a spiral. That's my visual that I like to use. So I move forward, I come back, I move forward, I come back. So even though I'm now finished with torts, I did torts last week, and this week I'm doing, I don't know, evidence. This week when I do evidence, I'm going to do some torts too. All right, next week when I do property, I'm going to do some torts, and I'm going to do some evidence too. All right, so in a nutshell, that is how to increase your multiple choice scores at the bar exam, or if you're in law school, because law schools give multiple choice exams too, right? So if you're in law school, that's how you would do it there too. That's it. I hope this was useful. If you enjoyed it, if you want to see other content, leave me a comment down below, subscribe to the channel. The more that I can figure out the kind of content that you need to see to help you pass the bar exam or to do well in law school, I will make those videos. So, new channel, really great opportunity for you to tell me what you need, and I will record it for you. All right. Take care. Follow me on socials at Take On Bar Exam. All right, that's it. Bye.